Over 2 months ago, I decided to run an experiment on myself. I wanted to track my habits, my moods, my sleep, all to become more consistent. So, I started bullet journaling. It lasted 2 weeks, and I wasn't even that consistent with it. Eventually, I stopped because I got overwhelmed. But fear not, this was not all in vain. For the moment my experiment failed, real data appeared. Patterns emerged. And I may, or may not, have accidentally stumbled on a solution to my focus, or lack thereof. Get comfortable, as we're going to discuss this little experiment of mine. Go grab your crochet, go do your dishes, or whatever it is that you like doing as you watch or listen to YouTube videos. Let us get into it. First of all, to give you a little bit more context, because you may not have seen my first video, my problem is that I lack follow through. I lack consistency. I start tasks, have trouble finishing them. Also, I get interested in way too many things. I'm very much a side quest type of person, and for those who have watched, more than one video, you may have noticed that I mentioned that I work as a teacher. I also train as a hypnotherapist. I'm currently finishing my master's. I also was very much a podcast listener, an avid podcast listener for a while, and have a book list that is really long. Books, some of them that I actually have, and most of which I haven't read. The ones that I have read, I haven't really applied, which means that I partially forgot what they were about. And that is my problem, which is why I have stopped listening or watching podcasts. For that very reason, I get way too invested, but then don't take the time to apply myself. Now, when it comes to bullet journaling, which was what I used to track and identify my patterns, I eventually stopped bullet journaling, but the reason why I started bullet journaling actually, panned out in the end. If you have made it this far into the video and you're still enjoying me talking about this experiment I am conducting, do leave a like. It really helps with the algorithm, and it also, shows me that this is a topic that you're enjoying. I stopped bullet journaling because I got too overwhelmed, mainly because of what I was doing in my master's and also the backlog of chores in my mind that was saying, hey, maybe you should do me first before you do the bullet journaling thing, because it's not that important in the grand scheme of things. Hey, by the way, girly, you do have your textbook you haven't read yet, and hey, your deadline is coming up. So yeah, basically, I was having inner monologues of reasons why I should not do this bullet journaling because I had way too many other things to do. Also convinced myself out of doing self-care rituals like doing my skincare or doing my makeup, which I do count as a self-care ritual because I find it fun. But, that is me personally. Or like doing my hair in like creative hairstyles, dressing up, that sort of stuff, which I find fun and brings me joy. So I stopped doing that because I was convincing myself that there was no time for this. What's really funny is that when I finished with what I was doing with my master's and submitted the assignment that I had to turn in, looking back at me bullet journaling, I realized that I was more productive on the days I was, quote unquote, wasting time. So the days that I did my skincare, my makeup, I dressed up, I did all of those things that are trivial, quote unquote, were also the days that I did more things in the day. I lost 2 hours, sometimes more, in the morning but would end up doing so much more, be so much more focused in the day. So that was revelation number one. That was really, really interesting. So I know that this is something to pay attention to and to keep for my upcoming experiments, because again, life is an experiment and my goal is to become more consistent. I haven't gotten to the level of consistency or adulting that I want for myself, so this experiment is very much still on. If this is your first time on this channel, welcome. If this is not, well, welcome back. I am so glad that you're still here, you know, watching this video by this point, so thank you for that. And if you don't mind, do subscribe to follow along with my endless side quests, one of which is, you know, training as a hypnotherapist. For those of you who don't know, I'm a trained hypnotherapist, and I do plan on starting my practice sometime this year. Haven't really decided yet when I want to officially start, but there is a Google form in the description, so if you're interested in working with me whenever I start my practice, do put your information there. And by the way, another fun side quest I have done is that I also trained into becoming a web designer, so I am both. And I'm just going to show you like the website that I have designed for my channel, but also for my hypnotherapy business that I haven't fully launched yet, just so you can see just how many side quests I have been on. It's quite a lot. Back to the video. Another thing I noticed was that my brain, my focus was on a schedule that was really inconvenient. And yes, I guess you can't just say, hey brain, focus right now, because I demanded so. Personally, what I found was that I was most productive after 3 p.m. Like low cognitive tasks, if they were done prior to that, would lead to a period of hyper focus on my studies for like 2-3 hours, where I would get so much done. It was actually incredible looking back at it. For example, what I would take 4 days to do by battling with myself or slowly attempting to read through and write, when I got into hyper-focused afternoon mode, I would do it all in a matter of hours. That's how insane it was. I did know not to force myself, so I never really forced, but I just went slowly at it, chipped at it, you know, and kind of hoped, honestly, to enter this hyperdrive mode of mine. And it wasn't that frequent. However, what was really, really interesting, and this happened just like a few days before my deadline, I still had a chunk of things to get done for my assignment. And the focus on that, I think it was a Thursday or a Friday. It was like near the end of the week. This was not recorded by bullet journaling, by the way. It's just that I remember it because it was so significant. I woke up feeling not that great. And by that I mean the focus wasn't there. I knew that this was not ideal. I knew this was not a day that I would be able to access this hyperdrive. To trick myself into enjoying something that I knew was going to be a struggle that day, I decided, very randomly may I add, to play one day of Stardew Valley. And it is a game, for those who don't know. Very nice game. Love that game. Anyways, I decided to play one day of Stardew Valley, do a little bit of reading, then one day of Stardew Valley, do a little bit more reading, one day of Stardew Valley, etc, etc. And guess what? After doing that exchange of activities 3 times, I actually became hooked on my studies. Like, I was into the mode, like study mode, for like 2 hours. And this never happened before, by the way. Doing a task to get me into another task, especially one that really requires my focus, because again, the textbooks aren't like, light reading. It's like a lot of academic wording and requires a lot of focus and drive. This like type of easy switching, easy motivation, easy focus never happens to me. It did happen in the past that I would do like some chores, and then like near 3 p.m. I would go into hyperdrive, but it never like occurred in the morning. This was insane. So I repeated the same thing in the afternoon and it worked again. The next day, still wasn't feeling it in terms of focus, did the same thing, worked even quicker. This is like insane because I did not think I was going to uncover anything that was going to be useful for me, but yes, the trick for me is to play a little bit of Stardew Valley and then switch to my studies, or like to more heavy task that requires a lot more focus. Now, I think here, and this is my hypothesis, by the way, I haven't looked at whether there was a study that could explain this. If you guys have heard of such a study, please comment it down below. But anyways, what I was saying, I think the key detail here is that it was Stardew Valley specifically. Now, the reason why I think one day of Stardew Valley was able to get me into that hyperdrive mode is because a day in Stardew Valley is like a predetermined length of time. And it isn't too long in real life either. Can't remember how many minutes it is, but it isn't that long. And there are only a certain amount of tasks you can get done in one day because the level of energy your character has is limited. And the amounts of interactions you can have with the other NPCs are limited, which means that there are just so many things you can get done in one day. Now, I'm not a speedrunner, so I'm not doing any of that stuff, and I'm not someone who optimizes for like routes or things like that either. I'm just like a casual player. So this is perfect for me because I will not get too sucked into the game that I wouldn't be able to do anything else outside of it. And here, I mean study. At least that's my hypothesis. If you guys have any ideas as to why it is so efficient, tell me in the comments. If you guys have the same problem as I do, please test this out. If you play Stardew Valley or any game that works in a similar way, and tell me if that works for you, because it worked for me. Now, moving forward, I know what I need to do. Clearly, like the whole focus, hyperdrive, activation thing needs to be upheld. So whenever I don't feel like doing something, I need to try this method of playing one day of Stardew Valley, doing a little bit of it, one day of Stardew Valley, and doing a little bit of it. And I'll keep you updated in the next video if it in the long term works out. Another thing too that I need to keep doing after my initial results is that I need to do this whole self-care ritual thing, because I think the reason why I was more productive on these days was that I was like in a better mood after doing all of that. And so because I was in a better mood, I was able to do more. That's what I think. I think it's the dopamine hitting my bloodstream that are making this, a thing. If you guys have any other hypotheses, please comment. I would love to know what you think about this. Last thing is that I do want to keep bullet journaling and be as consistent as I managed to be with it. Honestly, this track record of 2 weeks was better than my previous attempts at like journaling or recording things. So it's already like an improvement on my usual self. I think the key to be able to do this bullet journaling thing more consistently is to tie it to a ritual. Now, the reason why I think that is because I read it in a book called Atomic Habits. That, by the way, this is like kind of ties back to what I said previously in the video. I get interested in too many things. I read way too many things, but I don't take the time to apply it. And there was so many golden nuggets in that book that I haven't applied that I should. So I think I'm going to tie it to like a ritual that I do already, so that, you know, it's not forming a new habit, it's like complexifying an already existing habit. One thing that I do consistently enough is having a hot drink in the morning. So I think I need to make the hot drink and bullet journaling a thing. I need to experiment and see if that works. Another thing as well that I'm going to try out, and I will update you on in the next video, is trying to have a ritual before sleep too. Because like so far I have a would-be ritual in the morning because it's all my self-care, it's my skincare, dressing up, etc, etc. Hot drink and the bullet journaling thing, you know, that would be added on top. But then I don't have really an established evening routine. My issue with sleep is not that I have anxious or spiraling thoughts necessarily, but that it is very easy for me to be stimulated at night. Like I get really creative, I get really imaginative later in the day and at night. And the problem with activities that I have done before that I enjoy doing, like reading or writing, is that they activate my imagination. They kind of spark my brain back to life, which is not really the thing you want to do before bed. You kind of want to wind down and relax and not think. You know, we want to be sleepy. Now, my problem with being sleepy is that I'm not very active during the day. And by that, I mean physically active. I haven't exercised in who knows how long, but it's been a while. So since I don't do anything physically taxing, apart from my chores, but that's really not, you know, I don't really get that tired or that drained. So I need to establish an evening ritual. What I have started trying out so far was doing some crochet. And this, of course, is just a yarn ball, but I wanted to show this to you because this is like some yarn that I twisted back together to form a yarn ball that was from a scarf that I'm not wearing anymore, but I wanted to save the yarn because it's pretty. Anyways, I got distracted again. I was saying, yes, so for the evening ritual, I'm trying out crochet. And like more like mindless, repetitive patterns with, well, stitches with crochet, so that I just don't need to think too much and I'm just doing something and just being in my body and I'm not thinking about stuff. I haven't done it for too long yet, so I don't know how effective it is, but I'll keep you updated. For those of you who are coming from the wings videos and have made it this far, I finished the scarf that I was crocheting while watching Wings Club. This is my first project. I'm really proud of it. It's double-sided. There's like flower border, and I wanted to do like a cord to tie it off because it's like one really thick scarf, so it doesn't really stay in place, which is why I have something to tie it when I wear it. This was just like a small parenthesis to keep you updated on what I was doing. By the way, if I have any crochet connoisseur in my audience, which I don't really know what you guys are into, I do know you like Wings Club or grew up watching it like me, because a significant amount of my subscribers are from my Wings Club videos. But yeah, if I have any crochet connoisseur, do tell me what you think I could do with like this type of yarn. It's kind of like really fuzzy and it's not very big, you know, so, well, not very big. I don't have like an endless amount of it and I can't buy any more since, you know, it's like yarn that I you know, got from a scarf that I have had for like over 10 years that I'm just not wearing. So what would you advise me doing? It's like a pinky salmony color, and I haven't winded them into yarn balls yet, but I will have also like a white and dark gray blackish one as well. So 3 like yarn balls of around this size, and you know, limited edition since it's coming from like a scarf. On that note, I hope this video was an interesting and fun one. If I have any new viewers that have made it this far, or even previous viewers that have made it this far, honestly, thank you guys for making it this far. I know it's like kind of rare to have people make it to the end of the video unless you're my mom or my best friend. Do drop a pink heart in the comment if you have made it the whole way through, just so that I can acknowledge you for your valiant effort, my brave warriors, and yeah, thank you for making it to the end.